The lights are already hot when the first smile cracks. Not a friendly one, something tighter, rehearsed, a smile that arrives a half-second too late. The kind that tells you a room is about to change. Scarlett Johansson sits on the couch beneath the studio glow, legs crossed, hands folded with the careful patience of someone who knows every camera angle in the building. Across from her, Whoopi Goldberg leans back in her chair, relaxed on the surface, eyes sharp with decades of television instinct. The audience murmurs softly, a living, breathing organism waiting to be fed. No one knows it yet, but something is off. The air has weight. The moment is already tipping. Before it does, before the silence turns sharp, pause right here. If you live for the moments Hollywood doesn't want you to see, if you're drawn to the tension, the truth between the lines, and the stories that explode when the cameras keep rolling, subscribe to Fame and Frame right now. Like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments and stay with us because what happens next is the kind of television they can't take back. Scarlett shifts slightly, the leather couch whispering under her movement. Her expression is calm, but her jaw tightens just enough to register. She's done thousands of interviews. She's laughed at late-night jokes, deflected invasive questions, smiled through discomfort like it was part of the job description. But today, something old is sitting between her and the table. Something unresolved. Whoopi speaks first, voice smooth, seasoned, carrying authority without raising volume. A comment measured, almost casual, about responsibility, about influence, about what it means to use your platform wisely. It's the kind of statement that sounds harmless until you realize it's aimed. Not directly. Never directly. It lands like a shadow. Scarlett nods once. The audience claps lightly, obediently, but she doesn't answer right away. The pause stretches. In that space, the studio seems to inhale. You can hear the low hum of the lights, a cough from somewhere in the crowd, a producer shifting behind the cameras. Scarlett's eyes lift, not to Whoopi but just past her, toward the audience, toward the millions watching at home. When she speaks, her voice is steady, but there's an edge beneath it. Polite, controlled, dangerous. I think responsibility, she says slowly, also means being careful about how we frame people's choices. Whoopi's smile flickers. Just for a beat. The other hosts glance at each other. Joy's eyebrows lift. Sunny leans forward a fraction, sensing heat. This wasn't in the rundown. This wasn't the light, promotional banter they were promised. Scarlett continues, still calm, still measured, but now the words are stacking brick by brick. There's a difference between concern, she adds, and assumption. The audience reaction is confused. Scattered applause, a few murmurs. Whoopi tilts her head, studying Scarlett the way a veteran boxer studies an opponent who just threw an unexpected punch. She responds with a laugh that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Well, when you're in the public eye, Whoopi says, people are going to have opinions. That comes with the territory. Scarlett smiles again, but this time it's sharper. A line is being drawn, and she's no longer pretending not to see it. I know, she says. I've been in the public eye since I was a kid. That lands. The audience reacts louder now, sensing a shift in power. Scarlett's posture straightens. She's no longer a guest. She's present. Fully. The careful distance between celebrity and host begins to collapse, and in its place is something rawer, more personal. Whoopi responds, her tone firming, authority creeping back in. And with that experience, she says, comes accountability. The word hangs there. Heavy. Loaded. Scarlett's fingers unclasp. Her hands rest openly on her knees now, palms grounded as if she's bracing herself, not to retreat but to push forward. Her voice drops slightly, forcing the room to lean in. Accountability goes both ways. The silence after that sentence is loud. No applause. No laughter. Just the hum again. The sense that something private has just been made public. A flash of something crosses Whoopi's face, surprise maybe, or irritation, or recognition. She straightens in her chair, the friendly moderator slipping away, replaced by someone who has spent a lifetime holding control of a room. What are you saying, Scarlett? She asks. It's a simple question. Too simple. A door opening. Scarlett inhales. The camera cuts tighter, catching the faint tension in her eyes, the controlled restraint of someone choosing every word like it might explode in her mouth. I'm saying, she replies carefully, That sometimes the conversation says more about who's asking the question than who's answering it. A ripple moves through the audience. A few gasp. A few sharp inhales. Somewhere off camera, a producer's hand lifts instinctively, unsure whether to cut to commercial or let it burn. Whoopi lets out a short, humorless chuckle. Now hold on, she says. Nobody's attacking you. Scarlett doesn't look away. I didn't say they were. That's when the temperature changes completely. The smiles are gone now. The air feels thinner, tighter. The audience knows they're watching something unscripted. Something slipping out of its lane. The hosts shift in their seats. The show clock ticks mercilessly forward, seconds bleeding away as tension thickens. Whoopi leans in, voice lowering, firmer. Then what is this about? Scarlett's answer comes after another pause, longer than the last. In that pause lives years of headlines. Think pieces, assumptions, and judgment wrapped in concern and sold as discourse. When she speaks, her tone is still controlled, but the restraint is strained, like a wire pulled too tight. It's about being talked over, she says, and being told what my choices mean by people who don't live with the consequences of them. A sharp intake of breath ripples through the crowd. The other hosts freeze, eyes darting between Scarlett and Whoopi like spectators at a collision they can't stop. Whoopi's expression hardens. The room braces. Well, she says slowly, that's part of being an adult in this business. Scarlett nods once. Then she says quietly, but with unmistakable force, I am an adult. That's the point. The studio falls completely silent. For a split second it feels like time itself stalls, like the show is balanced on the edge of something it can't undo. Whoopi opens her mouth to respond, the authority, the experience, the weight of decades ready to come down hard. And just as she does, the camera light blinks. Cut to commercial. But the damage is already done. Because when we come back, Scarlett Johansson isn't backing down, and the conversation is about to turn from tense to explosive. When the red light snaps back on, the room feels smaller. Like the walls have crept in during the break. Applause rises on cue, but it's thinner now, hesitant, uncertain. The audience knows they didn't just watch a commercial. They watched a warning. Scarlett Johansson is sitting exactly where she was, posture straight, expression composed, but something has shifted behind her eyes. The restraint is no longer about politeness. It's about control. Whoopi Goldberg returns to camera with the smile of a professional who has survived storms before. She thanks the audience, welcomes them back, bridges the gap with practiced ease. But the air hasn't reset. It can't. Whatever was cracked before the break is still open, and everyone feels it. So, Whoopi says, turning fully towards Scarlett now, voice calm but firm, we were talking about responsibility. Scarlett inclines her head slightly, not submissive, acknowledging the frame but not accepting it. Yes, she says. We were. A few nervous laughs ripple through the crowd. Whoopi's eyes narrow just a touch. She senses it too, the power is no longer where it usually sits. The audience isn't automatically hers right now. They're watching Scarlett. You know, Whoopi continues, when people bring things up, it's not always about judgment. Sometimes it's about the impact. Scarlett's lips press together. She exhales slowly, visibly. The microphones catch it. I understand impact, she replies. I also understand being turned into a symbol instead of a person. That line lands harder than anything before it. A murmur spreads, this one deeper, more emotional. The kind that comes from recognition. Whoopi shifts in her chair. No one's doing that here. Scarlett finally turns fully toward her. The movement is deliberate, direct. The camera follows like it's being pulled. With respect, Scarlett says, her voice still level. That's easy to say from this side of the table. The hosts freeze again. Joy's mouth opens slightly, then closes. Sunny's pen stills midair. Someone in the audience whispers, not realizing their mic is hot. Whoopi's smile fades completely now. What does that mean? She asks. Scarlett doesn't rush. She knows rushing gives power away. It means, she says carefully, that conversations like this often happen about people like me, without us being allowed to define ourselves inside them. The word aloud hangs there, sharp as glass. Whoopi leans forward, elbows on the table. Her voice drops. Are you saying you're not allowed to speak? Scarlett meets her gaze without blinking. I'm saying that when I do, It's often filtered through expectations I didn't agree to. The audience reacts audibly now, gasps, scattered applause, tension rolling like a low thunder. This isn't celebrity banter anymore. This is something closer to a reckoning. Whoopi lets out a short breath through her nose. Scarlett, nobody here is trying to control you. Scarlett nods once. Intent doesn't erase effect. That's the moment the room splits. Half the audience claps instinctively. The other half sits rigid, unsure if they're witnessing bravery or disrespect. Online, screens are already lighting up, fingers hovering over record buttons, captions being drafted in real time. Whoopi straightens, reclaiming her height, her presence. You know, she says, voice firmer now, people look up to you. That's real. Whether you like it or not. Scarlett's expression tightens. For the first time, a flicker of frustration breaks through the calm. And that means, she replies, I'm expected to absorb everyone else's projections? Her voice doesn't rise, but the emotion underneath it does. It's palpable. The audience leans forward as one. Whoopi's tone sharpens. It means your choices don't exist in a vacuum. Scarlett shakes her head slowly. Neither do your questions. A sharp intake of breath cuts through the studio. Someone in the crowd audibly says, "Oh." The other hosts glance toward the control booth. This has gone too far to stop cleanly now. Cutting away would only confirm it. So the cameras stay rolling. Whoopi pauses. When she speaks again, there's steel in her voice. You're coming on my show, she says, not loudly but unmistakably. And I'm asking fair questions. Scarlett doesn't flinch. And I'm answering honestly, she replies. That's not always comfortable. The silence after that feels endless. The lights buzz. The audience holds its breath. The tension is no longer simmering. It's boiling, contained only by the thin walls of daytime television etiquette. Whoopi's eyes harden. So what do you want, Scarlett? It sounds like a challenge. Scarlett considers her answer. When it comes, it's quieter but heavier. I want conversations that don't start from the assumption that I need correcting. That's it. The room reacts all at once. Applause bursting from one side, stunned quiet from the other. A producer's voice crackles faintly in an earpiece somewhere. Unheard by the audience but very much felt. Whoopi's jaw tightens. She opens her mouth, closes it, then opens it again. Well, she says, choosing each word with care. That sounds like a luxury not everyone gets. Scarlett's eyes flash. Not anger, clarity. Exactly, she says. And that's why I'm pushing back. The phrase pushing back echoes in the room, in the feeds, in the headlines already forming. Whoopi leans back, crossing her arms. The posture is defensive now, whether she intends it or not. You know, she says, I've been doing this a long time. Scarlett nods. I know. And I've seen people come and go, Whoopi adds. I've seen careers built and broken. Scarlett holds her gaze. So have I. That line hits like a quiet explosion. The audience erupts, this time louder, undeniable. Applause, gasps, even a few cheers. The control room hesitates again. This is no longer just tension. It's spectacle. Whoopi's lips press into a thin line. She inhales deeply, clearly preparing to respond. When Joy cuts in, voice too bright, too fast. Okay, let's. But it's too late. Scarlett turns slightly, addressing the table, the room, the cameras all at once. I didn't come here to fight, she says. I came here to speak for myself. Her voice softens at the end. Not weakness but sincerity. The audience quiets, caught between admiration and shock. Whoopi looks at her for a long moment. Then she says slowly, And do you think you've done that? Scarlett doesn't answer right away. She looks out at the audience, at the cameras, at the millions watching this unfold live. Then she says, I think I'm finally being heard. The applause is thunderous now, overwhelming, the kind that drowns out everything else. Whoopi turns back toward the camera, face composed but eyes unreadable. We'll be right back, she says. But everyone knows when they come back this isn't going to cool down, because the question now isn't whether Scarlett Johansson pushed back. It's how far she's willing to go, and whether Whoopi Goldberg is about to push harder. And when part 3 begins, the balance of power is about to tip in a way no one in that studio sees coming. When the show returns again, the applause feels forced, like a reflex nobody trusts anymore. The studio hasn't cooled. If anything, it's tighter now, compressed by what's already been said. Scarlett Johansson sits with her shoulders squared, calm on the surface, but the stillness has changed. It's no longer restraint. It's resolve. Across from her, Whoopi Goldberg adjusts in her chair, reclaiming her posture, her authority, the invisible crown she's worn on this set for years. The cameras roll. No one blinks. So, Whoopi says, measured, deliberate, let's be very clear. Her voice carries weight now, less warmth, more edge. This is no longer a conversation drifting. This is a line being redrawn. We talk about power a lot on this show, she continues. And power means people respond to what you do, whether you ask them to or not. Scarlett listens. Doesn't interrupt. Doesn't nod. Her face is neutral, but her eyes are alert, tracking every word like it matters because it does. I agree, Scarlett says when Whoopi stops. Power does mean response. She pauses, letting the audience lean in. But it doesn't mean surrender. That single word, surrender, sends a ripple through the crowd. Someone gasps. Someone else whispers, "Oh wow." Whoopi's eyebrow lifts. No one's asking you to surrender. Scarlett finally leans forward. Just slightly. Enough for the camera to notice. Enough to change the geometry of the room. Then stop talking to me like I am, she says. The sound that follows isn't applause. Shock. Joy's hand freezes halfway to her mug. Sunny's eyes widen. The audience feels the floor tilt beneath them because this is no longer theoretical. This is personal. This is direct. Whoopi exhales slowly. When she speaks again, the patience is thinner. You're interpreting this as something it's not. Scarlett shakes her head. No, I'm responding to what it is. A beat. And what is that? Whoopi asks. Scarlett doesn't hesitate this time. A pattern. That word lands heavy. A pattern, Scarlett repeats, voice steady. Where women are praised for being outspoken, until we speak back. The audience reacts instantly. Applause breaks out louder than before, mixed with sharp intakes of breath. Somewhere, a producer mutters into a headset. This is spiraling fast. Whoopi straightens, eyes locked on Scarlett. You think this is about silencing women? Scarlett meets her gaze. I think it's about which women get to speak without consequences. Silence crashes down hard. Whoopi's mouth tightens. Her voice lowers. Careful. The word is quiet. Dangerous. Scarlett doesn't flinch. I've been careful my entire career, she replies. I'm done confusing that with staying quiet. The audience erupts, this time fully. Applause, cheers, scattered shouts. The control room lets it run because stopping it now would look like fear. Whoopi waits it out. When the noise finally settles, she leans forward, hands clasped. You know, she says slowly, there's a difference between standing up for yourself and dismissing other perspectives. Scarlett nods once. Agreed. Then she adds, and I'm not dismissing yours. I'm challenging the way it's being used. That distinction slices through the room. Whoopi's expression darkens. I've fought for voices like yours long before you had one. The line is meant to end the conversation, to reassert legacy, authority, seniority. But Scarlett's response comes instantly. And I respect that, she says. But that doesn't mean I owe you silence. The audience explodes again. This time there's no holding it back. People are standing. Phones are out. Somewhere online, clips are already looping, captions screaming words like unreal, historic. Did she just say that? Whoopi sits back, absorbing it. For a moment she says nothing. That moment stretches.